You are now standing on the silo level of the burden shed at listening point 3. Once you have listened to the original sound presentation, you will be able to imagine what a variety of sounds there was, and perhaps you will have gained an impression of the din that held sway here. The incessant shunting of the vehicles back and forth, the squeals of the wagons and the hum of the conveyor belts filled the enormous shed. But what exactly was stored in the bunkers? How was the ironworks' raw materials supply organised? And which raw materials formed the basis of iron production?
The burden shed is the belly of the ironworks. This is where the food for the blast furnaces was stored: iron ore, sinter, scrap and lime. With these ingredients, as from a recipe, the blast furnace's next meal was put together in a process known by the blast furnacemen as blending.
The burden shed was built in 1911, and it was constructed like the water tower with reinforced concrete, a process that was revolutionary at the time. 12,000 tons of material were able to be put in interim storage in the 20 collecting bunkers. The raw materials were taken into the burden shed by rail. The tracks can still clearly be seen.
On account of the unloading procedure, in which material was poured from quite a height, the shed was always full of ore dust. These clouds of dust rising from the burden shed can clearly be seen in historical films and photographs.
The collecting bunkers taper down towards the bottom. At the bottom, there are filling mechanisms with levered gates. When the workers opened these gates, the material shot out into the monorail cars. Some 15 workers were busy in the gangways of the burden shed with the filling of the cars. It was a draughty and extremely dusty workplace, and their everyday work was dominated by the ear-splitting noise of the vehicles as they were shunted.
Today, the burden shed is used for exhibitions. In the area of the collecting bunkers, for example, there are regular photographic exhibitions. On the lower level of the shed, you will find the Ferrodrome, the adventure world of iron and steel, and the first science centre in the Saarlor-Lux region.
When you leave the burden shed, the blast heating apparatus of number 6 blast furnace rises up in front of you. Cold Blast is the inscription on the fat pipe right behind the information board. This is where the blast produced by the big gas engines in the blower shed reached the blast furnace group. This was where it was conducted into the blast heating apparatus and heated up for the furnace. So what job did this apparatus do, and in what way were gas, water and blast involved in the process of iron production?
The blast heating apparatus of the Völklingen Ironworks came into being between 1885 and 1968. It thus documents impressively the way this technology developed after the 19th century. The blast heaters brought the blast up to temperatures of 1200 degrees. With their heights of 30 to 40 metres, they tower over the blast furnaces.
The blast heaters are wrapped in a thick steel shell, and on the inside they are lined with perforated bricks for up to 2/3 of their cross-section. This extremely heavy lining formed the heat accumulator.
3 blast heaters worked for each furnace. While one of them was on blast, in other words while the blast was being heated up in it, the second was on gas. Enormous flames heated the stones on the inside of the heater. A mixture of gas and air supplied the energy. The third blast heater was on standby for use in case of breakdown or malfunction. After some 90 minutes, when the heat stored in the stones had been used up, the apparatus was switched over from blast to gas, heavy valves effecting the changeover.
Now follow the walkway to the picnic area at the granulating plant. There you can enjoy a snack or a hot or cold drink. Then go up the steps through the machine house of the inclined lift to the top platform 27 metres above the ground. On the top platform you will find listening point 4.